Hallelujah. Shalom. We're sitting here with Cohane Shetmeyah, Cohane Levi, the Levi of Israel. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well. Todayah.
Blessed be. So I just want to ask you a few questions about you, about your life, maybe some questions about your Abba, your family, and how you came about. So, were you born in this way of life, or did you come into this way of life when?
I was born in this way of life. Yes, sir.
And your father, for everybody that might not know, who was your father?
My father is Cohane Levi ben Yisrael.
Hallelujah. So I got a question. Growing up in this way of life, you guys grew up in Hashabah Yisrael, am I correct?
That is correct.
How was that experience for you as a young man?
Oh, man, what a wonderful experience I had growing up in Hashabah Yisrael. The fond memories that I have of the soldiers, Shomrim, when we came up to the temple, first of all, my father, he always had people come and pick us up for the temple. He had chauffeurs, for lack of a better word. So I felt kind of like a celebrity, anyway. But just coming up to the temple on the Shabbat, and seeing, first of all, we had the street barricaded. And when you saw the men, the Shomrim with these turbans and these, long garments, and I mean, it was just fascinating, to say the least. And as a child, I just felt protected because I knew that I could go to any of these men if there was something wrong or if something was going on around the neighborhood. They certainly was there on point to protect the congregation, the community on 539 Belmont Avenue. That's where I began. Of course, the early years of Hashabah started in, I think it was 1106 Gates Avenue, if I'm not mistaken, but my memories are from 539 Belmont Avenue. Also, in addition to the Shomrim, the soldiers that were there, we had a setup of the priest order, the Kohanim order, which was very impressive as a young child. You had my father, who was the high priest at the time, Cohen Hagadol, Levi ben Yisrael. You had Cohen Mikael. You had Cohen Hosea. You had Cohen Yiktov, Cohen Reuben. We had other Kohanim that were located in Chicago, Cohen Avdi and Cohen Amasia. It was just a wonderful thing, the setup that we had. We had the Levite order, the Levitical order. We had the Mishara team, and then we had the drummers. I mean, we had dancers, we had singers. It was just a beautiful time, especially when you come in to worship the Creator on the Shabbat day and in the holy days. It was just a beautiful thing. And those are definitely some of the best memories that I had, that I have of Hashabah Yisrael.
And what does Hashabah Yisrael mean? Hashabah mean?
Hashabah Yisrael means the restoration of Israel. We have dedicated ourselves in restoring the name of the Creator back in this earth, back into the communities where our people don't know the name of Yah. So Hashabah Yisrael, restoration of Israel, and I take pride in that name. I am a true Hashabite. Some people say that I am Hashabah institutionalized. Well, I'll accept that, because those were my beginnings, and I also have the opportunity to carry on the legacy of my Abba, Hashabah Yisrael, which, by the way, was established back in 1965. So it means something to me.
Your father being the leader of Hashabah Yisrael, and you growing up seeing him do all the things that he had to go through, the works or whatever, how hard did your father work to try to keep the congregation in a good place? The work that he put in. Can you explain a little bit of that, being that you lived with the man and you seen all the struggles and everything that he had to go through?
Oh, absolutely. Again, being a young child, it was very hard seeing my father. I remember him being in meetings right after Shabbat, long meetings. My phone, our house phone, would ring non-stop throughout the week. You understand? He wasn't the typical father that many people would think of. He was a great father, but in terms of bouncing me on his lap and things like that, the traditional father, no, he wasn't like that because he understood his job. And the wonderful thing about it is that we understood his job. And so we knew that there was pressures, and he never really showed signs of being stressed or anything like that. You never saw it. If he was stressed out, I certainly didn't know about it because he always painted a picture for us as sons and daughters that everything is tov, everything is good. And so we never really knew, but I do remember, as I said, the phone ringing, and I don't know what the conversations were like, but all the time the phone ring. Can I speak to your Abba? Can I speak to your Abba? Can I speak to your Abba? And just watching him, going to meetings, and people coming to the house, all those things I can remember. But he never showed any signs of like real pressure or stress or things like that, which I always thought that he was a man that was always calm, cool, and collected anyway. So,
knowing your father's history, knowing that he came from being a quote unquote black Jew,
yes, sir,
and then going to a more cultural style of Israel. Why do you think it was that your father took that step to get out of suit and ties and yarmulkes to a more cultural thing? Did he ever explain that to you?
Yes, he did. We had a number of conversations regarding that. He said that coming out of while he was in Judaism. He was in Judaism for 7 years. He was a cantor. He sang for the rabbi on Shabbat, in the Shabbat services. But there was, as he began to study more and research more about our people and see the conditions of our people, something in his spirit told him that this is not us. We are people that have soul, and we're a people that have more pizzazz, whatever you want to call it. He just knew that, the playing of the organ, which is nothing wrong with that, but on Shabbat, he just knew that there was something else that we needed to do, and that was attached to us as a people. And that's why when he left and went and formed Hashabah Yisrael, along with many other brothers and sisters, the drums were instituted, to give a little bit of flavor in the services. And that's why you have the drums in so many of the congregations now, because that's where it started, because he knew this is our people. I remember him sharing a story. He wrote the song Jerusalem. The first time he sang it in Bnei Adat Kol Beit Yisrael, because they were used to certain songs and hymns and what have you. And he said he remembers him saying, starting off the song, by the rivers of Babylon. And this lady said, that's what I'm talking about, And so you can see now he had to do something different. And so again, it just transferred over to Hashabah Yisrael, where you had the drummers and just so many great memories. I mean, when you talk about, as I said, the drummers, and they would beat those drums, and we would sing songs, and I mean, it was beautiful. I remember it as if it were yesterday, So he just knew that we had more in our nation and in our spirit than the traditional hymns and what have you. So
since we're the topic of drummers, and being that you are a master drummer,
well, thank you, appreciate that.
What are your fondest memories of the drumming back in them days? Because I know you guys have a lot of fond memories about those days.
I didn't know that I was a drummer per se until I got a little older. But I do remember many times I would stare, at the drummers. I would actually be staring at them because I just thought that they were phenomenal. When you talk about men like Prince Zippor, Ben Zavulun, Yashadai Hasarin ben Naphtali, Micaiah, Shemuel ben Yehuda, Notaria ben Yehuda, Reuben ben Zavulun, so many of them, Amram ben Levi, Tovia ben Levi, So many drummers, Moshe Ben Levi, Sadiq Ben Levi. Those brothers were bad when I tell you. And when they started to play, it was almost like I was in a zone just watching them, man. I remember one time watching them play, and one of the brothers said, Shetmeyah, Shetmeyah. And he's calling my name, but I didn't hear him because I was just so into, the drummers, man, because it just did something to me, and not realizing that later on that I would take on the very styles and techniques of some of these drummers, because they were phenomenal. When I tell you, those are the fond memories that I have, great memories. And also remembering that, today you have it where the little young men, they come and play the drums. Back in those days, you couldn't even touch their drum. You had to get permission to even touch the drum. And so when you got called to play the drum, and they said, Shetmeyah, come up on here. I remember Sir Yashadai, God rest his soul. He would put me on a chair, and I start playing. I felt like I was in heaven, brother. When I tell you, it was just great, a great feeling. Those are the things I remember, and I really appreciated those brothers. When you talk about, like I said, Prince Zippor, lead runner, Shemuel, Micaiah was the master timbali. When I tell you, I still listen to those tapes to this very day. People laugh at me because I have them on tapes, and I do have a cassette recorder. I listen to them, I will get the opportunity to transfer them over to CD with your help, Chief, but I love them, man, and I just listen to them all the time. So